So, how is my low back? Well, I can walk, that's good. Immediately after I felt the pop during my set the previous day, I immediately stopped and I didn't really feel like I was able to bend forward to hinge in any sort of way. Immediately my body kind of froze into position, and it was very difficult for me to clean my bar. So I asked one of the guys that works in the gym for help with that. I went to take a shower, hot shower, and then I walked home. I was able to walk home with no problems. I was very aware that I shouldn't really be doing anything that upsets the area in any way. All the same, I wanted to be able to see how far I was able to move things around, especially bending forward and side to side. The pain was localized in the right side of my low back. So two things flashed into my head first. The first one was a disc, and the second one was a muscular thing, or a combination of the two. Now, what makes me think that it may not be disc related is the fact that although at first I was experiencing a lot of discomfort while flexing the lumbar spine and really putting any sort of tension, of pressure on that area, even when my back was straight, it did seem to be focused on the right side of my low back. So above the sacral joint and not in a central position. So that may not rule out a disc issue regardless. And what I kind of am leaning towards is that the tightness that I was feeling in the right area is probably the musculature around the injured part that suddenly tightened to try and maintain as much stability in that area that is now inflamed, or at least is not feeling the best. That would happen also if a disc was involved. So I cannot rule that out yet. During this day, I was very careful. I stayed at home. I was very careful sleeping the night after the injury was difficult. I wasn't able to get much sleep. I mean, I did sleep, but it was very light. I woke up a couple of times because basically every position that I could put myself in was giving me discomfort after a while. Couldn't sleep on the back because that was creating a bit too much extension, I think, or at least my bottom was sagging into the mattress a little bit, and I didn't think immediately about putting a pillow under my knees. That would have created probably a bit of a relief from that position. Sleeping on the sides either was not the best. But then the next day came around, and I went to work. I cycled to work, which was something that I was a bit concerned about because I thought that that would put my back in a bit of a lumbar flexion on my road bike. And at first it was a bit uncomfortable. It wasn't giving me pain, but I was also feeling that the discomfort was not only localized in the lower right side of my low back, but it was also not radiating, but it was present to some extent in the hip complex, so to the side and a bit in the front. And what I thought about that was the fact that gravity over time was going, and the progressive easing of the musculature around that area that was tightened for almost an entire day had put some toll onto the surrounding tissue. So that was probably an expected reaction over the next 24, 48, 72 hours. So I will be monitoring that. And what I ended up doing on this session was basically a slight assessment of my capabilities. So I was able to cycle, didn't give me too much pain. Then I went into doing some basic drills for my hips, trying to get them into flexion and extension with a bit of dynamic component in there, and that was fine. And then I went into the gym and was doing something that was putting I mean, something that allowed me to draw some blood in the area without challenging lumbar flexion. So I went into extension and held that as an isometric for time, trying to pump some blood in there, and then side to side with side planks. Another thing that I wanted to test was if I was hanging, if I was creating some distraction, some dislocation in the spine, if that was going to give me relief, and if anything, it was giving me a sensation of tightness still. So that helped me hopefully rule out the fact that there is nothing wrong with the discs. And right now, what I'm feeling is like muscular pain. Let's see how it evolves. Ciao.